1, 2. Testing 1, 2. 1, 2. 2. Ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to take a moment before kick-off to acknowledge a special milestone for one of our own. Tonight marks Harry Ashcroft's 100th appearance in the NPL Victoria. An incredible achievement for a player who continues to lead by example every time he steps onto the pitch. Since joining Hume City, Harry has been a pillar of strength in our backline and an influential presence in the locker room. As our vice-captain, he embodies the values of this club: commitment, resilience, and a deep passion for the game. Harry's professionalism and consistency have not only made him a fan favourite, but a true leader of this team. To honour this milestone, we are proud to present Harry with a commemorative frame as a token of our appreciation. Congratulations, Harry. Well, good evening, Hume City fans, and welcome to National Stadium, the home of Hume City FC. Tonight, we going to battle against Melbourne Knights, and we need you and everyone else to bring the noise and support the boys as they fight for 3 points. Before we get into the action, we'd like to take a moment to thank our amazing sponsors who make nights like these possible. Naciol, Palermo Perfumes, Zuby Finance, Chenol, the Graham Hotel, Tech Foods, Clearview Windows, Grand Foods, Macbill, Straight Line, Avito Specialty, Boss Signs, AS Lodge Tennis Courts, RFH Stone, Roxburgh Park Hotel, State Claims, Sultan Halal Meat and Small Goods, Altenbush, Cordy Motors, Checklad, Diakos, Optimum Building Services, Plastercore, Portable Industries, Prestige Panel Beaters, Rectify, Sahara, Shen Investing, Social Fair, Altitude, Waste Sense, Westwood Wheels and Tyres. Round of applause for our sponsors, please. And of course, a massive thank you to you, the fans, for being here tonight. Whether you're a long-time supporter or it's your first time in Hume City FC Football Club, we appreciate your passion and support. Now, let's meet the starting 11 for your game against Melbourne Knights tonight. Here's your Hume City FC starting lineup. Number 1, Michael Weir. Number 2, Joseph Ford. Number 6, Aaron Reardon. Number 7, Lloyd Isgrove.
When she did, she was just pulling randomly. We looked at it, there was a massive snap on it, but it was like this big, amazing. It was the one who was big. It's 30s like that.
Ah, but you still can't see like the outside here. We can go back there.
I just walk up and down. When they're attacking this side, I go there. When they're attacking this side, I go there. What do you mean? You just have to walk 2 centimeters. Exercise.
Just tap on the microphone. Just tap on the microphone.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I kindly ask for your attention for the Spectator Code of Behaviour. It is important that all spectators at a Football Victoria approved fixture are able to enjoy the match in a safe and comfortable environment. Accordingly, each person present at an FB fixture must respect the decisions of the match officials, respect the rights, dignity and worth of every person regardless of their race, colour, religion, language, politics, national or ethnic origin. Do not engage in the use of violence in any form, whether it is by other spectators, team officials, coaches or players. Do not engage in discrimination, harassment or abuse. Ladies and gentlemen, may I kindly ask for your attention for the Spectator Code of Behaviour. It is important that all spectators at a Football Victoria approved fixture are able to enjoy the match in a safe and comfortable environment. Accordingly, each person present at an FB fixture must respect the decisions of the match officials, respect the rights, dignity and worth of every person regardless of their race, colour, religion, language, politics. Ladies and gentlemen, in commemoration of today being Anzac Day, we would like to honour the courageous men and women who sacrificed their lives for their countries. We now ask you to join us in observing 1 minute of silence to remember the fallen, the returned, and all of those impacted by war and conflict. Please stand for 1 minute. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you.
A sacred day on the Australian calendar, lest we forget for those courageous men and women who all defend the country we call home. Tonight's clash, the 11th round of the men's NPL competition, finds us at Naziol Stadium, where Hume City lock horns with the Melbourne Knights. Adam Palombi on the call from the Gantry. The rain has subsided, given that it was rather heavy before the kick-off, which we're about to have. Both these sides certainly in need of a victory here tonight. Ivan Franjic making the trip with his Melbourne Knights after what was a pretty lacklustre performance at Tomset Stadium last Friday night against Dandy Thunder. You best believe they're looking to bounce back up off the canvas. We might start with the lineup for that of the visitors. Considering Chris Oldfield has succumbed to a shoulder injury, he had surgery recently, hence his campaign for season 2025 has culminated. Gabriel Matti takes his place as the goalkeeper. Dion Nicolades, Stefan Brechovic, Thomas Werndl and Benjamin Carrigan line up along the back. Joseph Franjic, Steve White, Jack Morton all in the engine room. Fraser Dunlop, Kieran Bramwell, Darcy Anastovsky all line up in the midfield, and the two strikers completing the 4-4-2. The man touching the ball right now, a very special occasion for Harry Ashcroft. 100 NPL games played. The vice-captain was awarded quite the plaque before things got underway here tonight. He will start on his 100th appearance in Victorian competition. Michael Weir's the goalkeeper. Mark Ochieng, Harry Ashcroft, Joseph Ford and Ishak Eisen line up defensively. Joshua O'Kane, Birkan Kirdar, Robert Harker in the engine room with Lloyd Isgrove, who makes a valued return for Hume City, alongside Josh Bingham and Mehmet Husal completing the lineup. Robert Harker, that touch further up the field. Bingham, that almost playmaker-like role behind the striker. Last time these two teams had faced here in Hume, it was a 1-1 draw. Kieran Bramwell's header cancelled out in the second half by a Lloyd Isgrove header to share the spoils, 1 goal apiece. Very similar conditions, considering it was also rather windy and wet upon that night back in 2024. Lots changed since then. Managerial change at best, player change also thrown in that mix, and it's a real somewhat symbol of interchangeable nature of the NPL men's competition as the Knights are looking to step forward. Ishak getting stuck in. Asian Ishak, rather. Might have got it back the front. Number 23 having a decent season so far for Hume. Both sides over the Easter break were successful in continuing their Doherty Cup campaigns. A 5-1 victory against Beau Morris for the Knights saw Darcy Anastovsky light up the show. A hat-trick for the number 15. Hume had faced the Eltham Redbacks away from home, managing a 3-1 victory to progress on to the next round. Ochieng, real servant for Hume. Harker is the idea forward. Bingham and Jock Quartermain. It's taken him barely any time at all, the man in blue officiating today's game, to issue a yellow card. Bingham clutching the upper region of his right leg, and I believe it might have been Franjic involved in that play, who was a bit late and has already been issued a yellow card. There's a bit of spice in the under-23s game that was on just before this one started. Though the Knights were leading by a goal. Hume were able to turn it around and win 2-1 with a very late winner, which sent the juniors into raptures. Nice feeling to that game. Players getting firmly involved. Wonder if we'll have much more of the same here in the senior clash as Harker. It's a swift movement from Kedar to be elusive under the wall. And Gabriel Marti with his first real test tonight for the Knights. Massive shoes to fill, considering Oldfield, as mentioned previously, will not be featuring again this season. Can Marti step up to the task as defensively, Hume with O'Kane. Happy to clear. Harker, nice interpretation, will shift it wide to Lloyd Isgrove. Hasn't appeared since that clash against Oakley. Not the Welshman's finest involvement. Some backtracking duties here. He's filling in the void in which Ochieng might have left defensively. He's in possession now. Ochieng. Isgrove. First time pass. Looking for Harker. Very slippery surface. Franjic touches forward. Bramwell ran into a brick wall. That of Ishak. Kedar. Nicolaitis does really well to body feint his way to having the ball remain his and ultimately draws the foul. Steve White with the armband on tonight for the Melbourne Knights. Franjic. Carrigan. Into the arms of Michael Weir. Wasn't exactly the month I'm sure Robert Marchioli would have envisioned for Hume throughout April, although there's been a slip there and Isgrove has a golden opportunity. And that would have been some return for Lord Isgrove. Marty well beaten, but the posts weren't, and the crossbar was rattling for some time. Well, considering City's recent form, the Doherty Cup was a positive in April, as was the victory away from home at JL Murphy Reserve against the Port Melbourne Sharks. A 3-1 result in favour of City. Although March wasn't exactly what they're after. Considering some of the top-end competitors in the competition are able to get the 3 points on offer. As for the Knights, it was a great start to their season. Opening night, a victory against Heidelberg United, but that momentum would not continue for them. And they currently find themselves in 12th place. Victory here, however, could catapult them to 7th. Of course, if other games around them are all to go in their favour. So it's a very, very tightly contested NPL men's competition this season. Victory holding their own. South Melbourne surprising a few. Esteban Quintas, of course, have received his marching orders and simply don't know what each game can have upon each set of players and managers. The repercussions could all be the same. As a bit of an acrobatic attempt of a clearance from Kedar, or a standing challenge rather. That resides with Hume once more. Ashcroft. Ishak. The Two centre-backs combine once more. Ishak threading the needle, looking for Isgrove. Wanting to run it, Nicolaides. Isgrove's low cross comes in. Franjic comes across to clear. It's been a decent start for those in red. And they have a corner, the first of the evening. Kedar's corner. Whipped in with real shape. It was an inviting ball, yet nobody had arrived for Hume. Isgrove deepest to try keep the move remaining alive. Ford. Isgrove. Cross dispatched him with purpose. Bingham's header flashes across the face of Marty's goal. It's been a very positive start for the hosts. Carrigan, short from the goal kick. Lofts it long, and Anastovsky, the idea. Well defended by Ashcroft. Nice individual battle to keep an eye on between those two. Isgrove swapping flanks. Harker, cut out by the captain White. Carrigan will try a nice ball forward this time along an AZL stand. Progressing forward with purpose. Melbourne Knights cross comes in. Wasn't exactly cleared yet, and danger not averted here for the Knights. They could open the scoring with Bramwell. Palmed away by Weir. It was Brecevic who was just not giving up on things. In fact, make that Thomas Werndl rather. It's progressing really high up the pitch and certainly looking to remain busy. Isgrove on the deck. Harker. Very deep ball in for UCL, and well, he was lunging at it to try to steer it towards Gabriel Marty, and oh, it's firmly gone out of this place and then some. Might be a couple of fans behind the gates on that side of the pitch trying to retrieve it, but oh, in the darkness that surrounds that of Naziel Stadium, I'm not sure if that's the wisest idea. Marty searches long. Anastovsky chests it on. Dunlop trying to get his foot near it. Harker draws the throw. And currently, a live score update from that of Olympic Village. Heidelberg have put 3 past the league leaders of Avondale FC. 3-0 lead at half-time. Might just turn a few heads. UCL draws the foul. Ocheng will take it quickly. Kedar. Ashcroft. Ford for a Kane. Ishak. Kedar. Ashcroft, first time pass for Isgrove. He follows up with the same laterally for Ford. Enjoying possession. Our City currently. Worked it all the way back to the keeper of Michael Weir. Lofts it for Ocheng. Lovely first touch off his chest. Out wide is Isial. Looking to generate the cross. It's well defended from Nicolaides at the expense of another Hume corner. Usiali's short, although Kedar crosses in. Lovely ball. It was poised perhaps for Ashcroft, who came crashing in. Isgrove keeps the move going. Although might have been on the receiving end of some commentators' curse, Lord Isgrove. Wasn't so much an attempt on goal nor a cross, and hits the roof of the net. And once more, Marty will take a goal kick. He must feel for the Knights, considering currently they've got a fair amount of soldiers. Just not able to take to the playing surface. Kane Shepherd, Leo Marzis, though he's mentioned on the team sheet. Now Chris Oldfield joining the injury list. It's I'm sure not what Evan Franich was expecting coming into the season, although that's very late from the captain, Josh Bingham. Uncharacteristic, really, the way he went into his fellow captain, or counterpart captain, rather, of Steve White. Not slippery surface, but Bingham was using it almost as a slip and slide, considering he went a fair journey to tussle for possession, and the yellow card has come out. This time it's Hume City's number 11. Lofting ball, Weir will happily claim it rather comfortably. Both managers tucked up firmly high upon their technical areas. And Franich nearly rolling back the playing days. Marchioli nice and high also. Players just not intervening, getting their way yet. But well, Hume have blinked, they've hit the crossbar. The Knights had a chance of their own with Bramwell. And looking to try to generate a long ball forward. Dunlop flicks it on. Nicolaides the idea. Running at Ochieng. Central. Martin does really well. Cross was not going to beat the first post. It was Morton, rather, who was incisive. Nicolaides combining also, but the cross not bothering anybody in red inside the box. Forward trying to latch on. Werndl. Happy to clear. Kedar latching on to a loose ball. Though White, nice sidestep. Sends it long for Bramwell to try latch on to. It's not going to sit up and remain in his path. It drifts out of play. Bingham. Harker. It will work, you know. It will find Yusal. His first touch is sublime. He's stepping inside Yusal. Wasn't able to generate height upon the dispatch. Ochieng. Rekindles. O'Kane. Ashcroft. Harker just hacked it forward and, well, it worked. Isgrove. Looking to dance around his marker. Lovely ball for Harker. Flag stays down inside the box of Hume with Isgrove. Might have just been nipped right as the shot was taken, Lloyd Isgrove. Conditions. Depends who you ask. By my own evaluation. Supreme for something to occur, considering the rain is picking up again. But the wind isn't too vicious. It's not exactly cold, it must be said. It's not warm either, but it's not one of those freezing nights you'd expect in the middle of the year. Recently, April has been putting it on. And our fair share of decently warm days, considering the time of year we're entering. It's all about how the ball will fortuitously, or unfortuitously for some, in tonight's contest. It's Kedar. Xiao, his touch was decent, but it had just slid away from him. Nicolaides draws another foul. Brecevic. Carrigan. Franjic just tucking in as Werndl progresses forward. Carrigan for Brecevic. They sit as a defensive three when in possession. The Knights. First time pass for Nicolaides. One touch football. It's neat. From Ivan Franjic's side currently. Nicolaides. Hume compacting the space. Morton for White. Franjic. Carrigan breaks the lines. Dunlop with the first touch. Still progressing forward is Dunlop. Ochieng. The veteran does well. O'Kane for Bingham. Hume can try and conjure up a counter charge here. Isgrove. Cross comes in for Harker. Brilliant save by Marty. Danger not averted yet. As Isgrove with Harker combines on the edge of the area. Not cleared away yet, although laterally the Knights will go very unconventionally. And ultimately Nicolaides does really well to deflect the ball off of his attacker and out of play. Dare I mention, as Isgrove and Harker combined, another moment in this contest where a keeper was called upon and Gabriel Marty, for the meantime, was there to answer that call. A fine reflex save by the man in green. Sent forward by the Knights. Centrally, Kedar. Bingham trying the back heel. Ricocheting for the ball. Anastovsky will try to provide chase for Ochieng, although Uia casually wants this game to keep rolling. Gets it on towards Ashcroft. Searching ball for Harker. Marty will run it out of play. On both sides, perhaps beyond the point of examining each other. But the game is entering a little bit of a lull period, considering the keepers have been called upon early, but both sides not exactly wanting to hold on to possession. In doing so, it's been turned over rather carelessly by the Knights currently. As got a fortuitous bounce there. Bramwell trying to run in behind. Ashcroft back to the keeper. It's a game of long ball currently. Werndl Bit of a slip. An opportunity opens up now for the Knights. Surging forward they might be. Anastovsky, although having quite the decent performance last time out in the cup, for now couldn't conjure up that magic laced within his boots, and it's his first real attempt on goal. I'm sure by his own standards, not his most memorable. Ochieng. O'Kane. Ishak. Measured ball for Ashcroft. Ford. Isgrove. Bingham. Back to Isgrove. Ball bouncing. Contained by White. Carrigan. Central for White. Has a glance Morton around him. He can stroll into some open space. Nicolaides to his left. Morton. Dunlop dropping the shoulder. Stepping inside Fraser Dunlop. He shapes up towards goal. Comfortable height and catch for that of Michael Weir. Isgrove in a wide area, trying to get around Werndl. Another real eye-catching individual battle to keep tabs on. Isgrove combining with Ford. Flick back towards Isgrove. Carrigan wanting to clear. Ashcroft. Ishak told to hold. Morton trying to form a press. Kedar central for Bingham. Carrigan intervenes. Morton. O'Kane. White, first time for Brecevic, and the Knights have been able to just get themselves out of it. Tight space, although Carrigan's gone back to the keeper Marty. First time for Brecevic. Stark contrast to last week if you're a Knights supporter. Couldn't get anywhere near the ball. Against the Thunder, and well, up until that point, they were showcasing some decent string of passes in that play, although it was turned over with Brecevic the last to touch. Ashcroft for Ford. Where does that moment come from? Which side makes that first fundamental mistake? And I'd like to know it. It's basically screaming out to happen. It's not when. It's really who. Kedar looks long. The captain White. Morton couldn't find a teammate. Ochieng recycles with Weir. Hume have been able to just retain possession, recycle, but not find that killer pass or opportunity on goal. When they have, it's been the keeper for the Knights who's just kept things all level. Ford trying to charge through. Werndl, White, Carrigan goes down. And yet another card will come out the pocket of Jock Quartermain. Joseph Ford goes into the book. No leniency in terms of conditions, perhaps upon the players, and Well, the man in blue has been busy. 3 players just to ride up into the book now. From the restart, Brecevic. A lot of height about the centre back, the number 3 for the Knights. Marty. It's going to be a bouncing ball. Anastovsky. Nice interpretation, although Morton tried to go long for the flanking run of Dunlop. Brecevic heads it away against the deck. Nicolades. Sial pressing. Nicolades central. Carrigan. Werndl. In a wide area. Morton. Carrigan. Werndl. White to Morton to Werndl. The Knights pressing forward, trying to lock possession inside their attacking half. Werndl awaits the run of Bramwell, who's inside the box. He's crashed into Ashcroft. Robert Marchioli didn't like it. Marchioli trying to get the attention of the linesman, who's snug up against the corner flag on the opposite side, where the Knights will take their first corner of the contest. Tall timber at the back post for the Knights. Cross comes in, it won't reach the back post. Nicolades crosses in. Bramwell was there. Anastovsky gets his shot away. In comparison to what he delivered upon the first time of asking, he wasn't far away there, Anastovsky, from beating Michael Weir. The direction was certainly on. He wasn't too far away at all for the Knights. Against the balance to take the front. Isgrove. O'Kane. Bingham was an option. A little bit deeper. Kedar also was one of them. Anastovsky had no teammate in support, and it falters back to Ochieng. This game's starting to open up. Both sides looking to have a bit more of an Imperium say on it. Ochieng. Isgrove back on the left flank. Nicolades will protest. He was adamant the ball was the Knights, although it's in the hands of his counterpart number. Ochieng's throw falters back towards Ishak. Ashcroft forward. Kedar. Forward, nifty. Kedar. Harker. Bingham, edge of the area, combining the two big men. And Bingham went banging over the crossbar. Very direct from Hume upon that time of asking. Impressive from two players truly over 6 foot. Having quite nimble footwork. And Bingham certainly has an eye for the sticks, but wasn't very handsome upon that effort. Anastovsky couldn't control the ball. O'Kane weaving through. Lovely ball control to find Isgrove. Cross comes in. Marty positioned himself well to claim. And he rolls it quickly, though. Isgrove was quick to latch on. Ochieng. Play back with those in red. Kedar to the area. Will strike. True missile. Fired by Birkan Kedar. And, well, Marty wanted the quick release and in doing so turned over play. And it was nearly costly for the visitors. And Kedar was certainly going for power, not placement, and he wasn't far at all from having the top right corner ripple. And Ostovsky earns the foul against Ashcroft, which Knights wanted to take quickly. Franich indecisive. Just allows for it to slow down a little bit. Werndl. Carrigan. Werndl. Over the top. We are sweeping up the situation, using the full length of his box. Snuffs out the danger. Perhaps imposed upon a runner in behind for the Knights. Ishak. Ochieng. Trying to step around Nicolades. Ashcroft. Ishak. Harker. Kedar touches towards Ishak. Wants to utilise his centre-back partner once more. Ashcroft. Provocative this time with the pass. Kedar running with real intent. Ford. Edge of the area. Here's Sial this time for Kedar. Can Hume generate the cross? The ball comes in with intent, although it's across the face of goal, and Dunlop wasn't exactly certain. He clears out in an almost nonsense way, and in doing so concedes a corner. What can Hume try conjure up? Ball very high, crossed in to the back stick. It's flown back in. The acrobatic was the idea. And well, you're not going to know if you don't put a ticket in the raffle. And Asen Ishak was trying something audacious. Upon his 100th, Harry Ashcroft was asked what his favourite moment might have been in NPL colours. And to quote him, probably last year against Port, when Carly was pregnant with Banks and I did the baby celebration. That was to make it 4-0 against the Sharks in last year's first contest against them. Will tonight be Hume's night for their vice-captain, celebrating his 100th. Lovely flick on towards Isgrove from Harker. Melbourne floods back. Kedar inside the box. An opportunity opening up here. And Bingham will bundle it home. The captain contributes in the way a captain should. And Hume hit the front. It all stemmed from that lovely flick on from Harker. Although the Knights flooded back quickly, Isgrove was able to have it for Kedar, who crossed it right across the goal line. And Bingham was there to have the simplest job of turning it in for the hosts first. It's taken 38 minutes for the deadlock to break, but that has happened, and that must be the scoring end at Naziel Stadium, considering that's where Kieran Bramwell had scored his header from the last time these two teams met at this venue. Although not via the header for Bingham. It's gone the way of the hosts. Robert Marchioli can somewhat breathe a sigh of relief. I wonder how that might change Ivan Franich's halftime team talks, although there's still a decent chunk of regulation time left in this opening 45. Ford. Isiala trying to combine on that flank. Harker. Ford. Isiala, edge of the area of the ball. Not exactly cleared yet by the Knights. Although they can break forward here, if they can manage to just get this flurry of play right. Cut off the pass, and now Hume can transition forward. Brecevic stretches and has it away from Isgrove. Nicolades continuing his run down the right flank. Sliding in, Kedar. Dunlop and Kedar coming together momentarily. Trying to rekindle the spice in perhaps the under-23s game. And Ostolski deflecting. Ball is on the edge of the area. Bingham will send it long. Although Jock Quartermain will sound his whistle. Bingham goes down, and Ostolski coming into, well, a collision course with Bingham. Hume bench certainly wants a card. Isgrove having a chat to Ivan Franic, although not sure if Ivan's in a talkative mood currently. So Hume with the free kick. Weir. Keeper sends it long. Brecevic flicks away. Kedar. Lovely bit of skill on this flank from Dunlop. And Ostolski. Blocked by Ishak. A noticeable absentee from tonight's lineup for the Knights. And of Stephen Lawless. Haven't had that bit of flair or creativity perhaps in the engine room so far tonight, and well, the Irishman of Lawless would certainly provide that. During the week for the Knights, Technical Director Josip Vancharic caught up with two former Knights heavyweights, Out of Mark Viduka and Željko Adzic. Both sharing a coffee. Viduka just rekindling some fond memories for the Knights upon that visit with their technical director. Okay, and they're really not sure who wants to win the ball and venture forward, although the Knights do. And Astovsky, Dunlop, just skidding away from him. Moves not completely over yet, and White will have a tee off, really. His effort wasn't driving anywhere. Nicolaides have progressed a fair way up the playing surface. Trying to have a glimpse of the fourth officials board. Regulation time in this first 45 nearing its conclusion. Is there a late twist in this first 45? Anastovsky trying to shift around. He's gone central for White. 2 minutes go up on the board. Is there time for the Knights to head into the change rooms on level terms? They're inside the box here, the Melbourne Knights, with Dunlop. Danger not averted yet as Franjic. Dunlop. Edge of the area. Nicolaides for Dunlop. Cross to really no man's land. As Harker. Forward, progressing forward. Bingham. Gut busting run on the flank to try provide an option, although Yusial is inside the area. He shot with his right, it was blocked. Forward now for Hume. Inside the box. Bingham, usually wanting to be on the end of a cross. Finds himself in a wide area with Fusial. Shifts around his marker. Fusial thought he might have been tripped, although hasn't gone out of play yet, the ball. All sets of players having looked towards the officials. Ivan Franjic coming across to have a chat with the fourth official. Isial was under the ball, and it looked as if it might have been a foul from the Knights. That's exactly what's been issued by Jock Quartermain, but well, a golden opportunity has transpired for the hosts right on the cusp of half-time. Bingham's where he wants to be. He's inside the box. Harker, Ashcroft, Ishak. A lot of tall timber for those in red to aim at. Kedar's low cross. Comes in for Risgrove. Tried that on a couple of occasions now. Humelo Kedar really comes together with that of Werndl. And it looked a little bit dangerous as we come to a conclusion on our first opening 45, where Josh Bingham's opening goal, the only decisive moment so far in this match. Hume with a 1-goal advantage as we cross to half-time on round 11 of the men's NPL Victoria clash here at Naziel Stadium. The opening 45, both sides trying to get a firm assessment upon each other. The remaining 45, all for the Knights to try get themselves level in this contest. A halftime substitution for Robert Marchioli, with Oliver Keelart taking the place out of Josh Bingham. The goal scorer and captain resides on the bench. So an attacking substitution for the hosts. Van Franich yet to utilise his bench. Although there was many warming up at that half-time, you would expect a change to transpire in this half at some stage, although it wasn't to happen at the start of the second 45. Forward for Ashcroft. It's been a decent 100th NPL appearance so far tonight for the number 14. Searching ball for Isgrove. Lovely diagonal pass. Isgrove's cross comes in. It's still there for the substitute who's just come on. Pumped away by Marty. And a double. Isgrove flings it back into the mixer. Danger not averted yet. As the rain billows forward. Bramwell's deflection upon the cross, and Marty, who was a very busy customer, the goalkeeper. Dare I say, a body might have got in the way of that second shot that was flung towards him. But Oliver Keelart, nearly with an assist upon his first couple of touches. Ishak. Isyal keeps his balance, progressing forward to Hume. It remains alive for Harker. Well, bit to unpack there considering Yusel progressed forward with real intent. He made his way inside the box. Dare I say, Jock Quartermain might have seen nothing in that, but it's a little bit sinister from here, although the whistle hadn't sounded, and Robert Harker had continued his run inside the box, and the ball fell towards him at his feet, and he wasn't able to steer it beyond that of Marty. So a very testing couple of opening minutes in this second half of the side that are trailing. As White lofting a ball forward, Weir. He's done that on a couple of occasions now, the goalkeeper. That's his month of experience. Comes out to use the full length of his box and prevent anything from occurring for the Knights as Wernthal with Yusial on this right flank. Van Franich residing inside his box. That of his dugout, rather. Marchioli embracing the April rain. He's got his hands tucked in his jacket. Sure, a grin will come out on his face soon if Hume are to turn this into a 2-goal advantage. Forward's cross blocked by Bramwell. Keelart. Forward. Oliver Keelart's offside. Fraser Dunlop just requested that of Ivan Franich to come a little bit more incisive, not so much hug that far right flank. The ball's been lofted towards that part of the pitch. Bramwell trying to bulldoze his way through. Ashcroft asking if that was an ill malice, although Wernthal will take a throw in. Wernthal short with the throw. Gets it through towards Bramwell. Takes a slide. Ashcroft had challenged firmly. O'Kane. Isgrove can put on the afterburners. Nicolades can do the exact same, and Dion wins possession for the Knights. Nicolades rolling it forward for Anastovsky. Ashcroft in a foot race. And the 100th gamer able to have it safely back to his keeper, although the Knights are looking to be a bit more proactive despite a bit of a rough start to the second half. Carrigan. Werndl. Lofting a ball. Arching heads away. Nicolades. White. Anastovsky. O'Kane. Keelart. Still searching for his Keelart. Isgrove's picked him out over the top. It's 3 against 4 on this counter-attack, although Keelart lost possession, but Chuck Quartermain having a couple of customers to deal with. Nicolades. Ball rolls inside. White. But Marchioli not exactly too fond of the Hume City work rate at the minute. Almost incensed is Marchioli. Bramwell. The Knights with their tails up, flicking, teasing ball towards the back post. Lovely shape on the delivery from the number 9 in the wide area. Robert Marchioli, in comparison to Ivan Franjic, hasn't exactly been as vocal, but he certainly was there. That's one of the joys of commentating at Naziel Stadium. The gantry situated right in the middle of both dugouts. So you simply can't miss a thing. As White, Nicolades, Isgrove, Dunlop. Looking to stretch away now, Dunlop. Got the beating of O'Kane for pace. Ching with a body check. Ivan Franjic not happy. Frustration from both managers just starting to come out. It's a very slippery contest. Carrigan. Bramwell, an overlap from Werndl was there. And it must be said, this has been arguably the Knights' more recognisable passage. Seems to have a bit more intent on the football they're looking to play on the attack. And Hume currently can't seem to generate the ball beyond their halfway point. Nicolades. White. Carrigan. Lots of space out wide for Franjic if they can generate it towards his flank as Sprecevic finds Joseph Franjic on a yellow card. Sprecevic. Carrigan for Werndl. Trying to settle behind the ball are those in red. Franjic. Nicolades. Sprecevic. Franjic now in a wide area. Anastovsky inside the box. Ashcroft ushering around the number 15, although his header was earned, but wasn't headed towards the sticks of Michael Weir. But the Knights currently showcasing some decent football. And weren't exactly given an opportunity last week against the Thunder on home turf. But on enemy territory, they've had a couple of perhaps opportunities. Marty not exactly too fond of his effort there, and he was vocalised. Hume can regain the ascendancy. Chiang's throw. Harker. O'Kane. Along the deck. Isyal. Edge of the area for Hume. Cross comes in. Carrigan hacks it away. Both players opting for inside of their boot to both cross and clear. Stepping forward is Ishak. Ochieng overlapping in some space now. Ochieng, a chance opening up now for the hosts. Stepping inside is Ochieng. Brilliant finish from the fullback. And it's turning into quite the celebration for that of his defensive partner of Harry Ashcroft's 100th. The hosts have their second. And just as Melbourne Knights were looking to reinstate themselves into this game, Mark Ochieng went on a journey from fullback and finished supremely well. Nothing in which Marty could do. Completely wrong-footed the goalkeeper. And once Ochieng had stepped inside onto his trusty right, it was almost there in silver lining to happen. This is a situation in which Evan Franch's side find themselves in again, and that's of a 2-goal deficit. As aforementioned, they had equalised, or played to a draw rather, in last year's encounter here. Oh, they've got two objectives to climb over now. As Ford, that rain starting to come sideways. Ochieng. Kedar, Ashcroft in control now with Hume. A quick one-passenger play can change the narrative. As for Mark Ochieng, it's his 4th goal in 115 appearances for Hume. Previously, of course, of Adelaide United in the A-League. It's really become a staple along the hosts' defensive line in the time spent at the club. Searching ball forward from Franich. Ford heads away. Bramwell. Pedestrian from Wordle. From Werntle, rather. O'Kane. Lovely bit of balance to have the ball remain within his stride. Esgrove trying to get around Nicolades. Esgrove. Central. Kedar. Ford. Isyal is wide. Ford. Brilliant shape, but well, its accuracy was all over the shop. Nicolades. Matti. Carrigan. Morton for Carrigan. Brečević. Carrigan wanting to have the ball just enter the engine room, although Hume are just sitting so inside that area currently. It's allowed for a bit of a closed up shop, really, as Ashcroft comes across. Knights went long and generate a throw-in. Morton. Carrigan. Brečević. And Leo Marzis will enter the playing surface shortly. What a contribution he could have from the bench, although Werndl inside the box. Cross comes in. The flag had gone up on the fullback. But Leo Marzis, it's been some time since I've seen him for the Knights this season. Donning the gold boots tonight, the number 7. Of course, has playing experience with Celtic FC in Scotland. With Heidelberg United for some time, but finds himself involved at the Melbourne Knights. He's been told to get his shin pads on, and well, only 2 appearances he's managed to conjure up so far this season. Injury concern just preventing him from playing regular football, but what a boost this could be for the Knights. What a way it could be for Marzis to reintroduce himself to NPL competition. No mucking around from the board. They've made their substitution in quick fashion. Thomas Werndl, as his night conclude. On comes Leo Marzis. Assume that Franic has somewhat filled in that defensive void. Attacking substitution. So despite the scoreline being what it is, Van Franic will, or has rather, certainly looked to try and make a difference. With an aggressive substitution, that's a provocative ball in the box. Isgrove has time to shape an effort. Well, by his own standards, the Welshman never really had much confidence, although not having to move to attain possession. Ishak. Isgrove. Ford. Kedar. Ashcroft. Ishak. Harker. Ashcroft. Searching ball. Head of the way by Nicolaides. Sliding on the deck is Franic. Has to tread water carefully considering he is on a yellow card. Bramwell tried to keep the move going. Though on the deck remains a Hume player. I'll forget to have a glimpse of the weather here in the West Meadows. The rain will not be stopping. That's almost a guarantee. Isgrove with Ochieng. Ashcroft. Heavy press from Morton. O'Kane, composed. Ashcroft, lofting ball. Harker. Flicking away. In the middle of the park. Morton trying to latch on. O'Kane had to really stretch to keep possession. Humes. Ford. Nicolaides. Ball's never gone out of play. Nicolaides still venturing forward. And it will be another substitution for the Melbourne Knights. Mark Petherotis will take to the playing surface surely. His substitution will commence, but the question is who's coming off? On a yellow card, Joseph Franic has his night conclude. Petherotis on in his place. Ford going long. Killart might have had that hit him right in the nose. Chuck Quarterman coming across, playing peacemaker. Well, they're delegating what's happened here. All sets of officials and players alike, but I think it was rather incidental what happened there with head of Oliver Killart. Some clarities coming out of his mouth, and it certainly is a hard round ball. Well, the Hume City technical staff and Marchioli having a chat about that, but well, the Hume Medico will attend to the substitute of Killart. And currently the hosts are down a player, Isgrove. Lovely first touch. Still trying to await the overlapping run or a wider teammate. Ochieng was very lateral. Isgrove very short for O'Kane. Ashcroft. For Michael Weir. Almost an anchor, really, of Marchioli's side. Ishak taking the game on. He's gotten around both Bramwell and Anastovsky. Isgrove, a bit wasteful. As a man advantage for the Knights currently. Dunlop. Cross comes in. Ashcroft heads away. Not much tall timber in the box to aim at. The ball was firmly over the cranium of Anastovsky. And it's the host's turn to make a substitution. And attacking one at that. And in fact, make that a double substitution. Godfrey de Belle and Michael Domfer replace the likes of Mehmet Usar and Robert Harker. So more firepower installed by Marchioli. The number 9, 24 years of age, Godfrey de Belle. Featured, of course, for the Gold Coast Knights in the eastern suburbs. And at Redlands United before plying his trade in Victoria. Still yet to find his first goal in NPL competition for Hume. As for the number 18, Michael Domfer, 10 games played this season, 2 times he's had the net ripple, the number 18. Can they perhaps have impact on a game which firmly remains with the hosts? Carrigan lofts it forward. Morton tried to flick it on. Ochieng heading out of play. Kidza will go back towards Weir. Here's Groville loft, but he won't be able to keep that ball in play. Bramwell trying to nip at the heels of Ishak, and that pressure Ishak was taking no chances with, and a corner has occurred for the Knights. If there's a time to get themselves back in this game, simply have to be soon, and this could be that opportunity to do so. Cross comes in quickly. Oh, and Weir, a bit uncertain, perhaps the goalkeeper. And Leo Marzis, the man possessed, wants to take this corner quickly. Marzis, the ball wasn't on the line, and now he's had to place it back, and the cross will come in from Marzis towards the back post. Oh, and well, Brecevic arrived, inviting ball from the number 7 to find the number 3 for the Knights, and that could have been that moment which Ivan French so desperately needs. Might have a glimpse around the grounds to see what's transpired so far this Anzac Day. Oakley had taken on Altona Magic at Paisley Park. Well, as much as we'd like a result, it was 1-0 at half-time. Dare I say that game all wrapped up 2-1 in favour of the Cannons. Heidelberg held on despite somewhat of a comeback from Avondale. 3-1 the final score at Olympic Village. South Melbourne had taken on Green Gully. Of course, on Anzac Day, that result might have to wait as a cross will come in. Inviting ball, which Brecevic had to get in the way of. South Melbourne it's coming to a 1-0 loss to Green Gully. Now David Chick, the former Hume City manager, had needed that. Cross comes in. Well, he's finally back on to the playing surface, Oliver Keeler, but his header just flicks over the bar. Just wonder what exactly could be the idea. Vivan Franic has made a couple of substitutions, although this game just really not being on their terms currently. Domfer conceding the foul. Carrigan will roll it quickly. White. Nicolades. Marzis. And it was DeBelle just tangling with a couple of Knights players. Nicolades preventing the clearance. Ishak. Domfer. White for Carrigan. or Brečević rather, and it's a bit more intensity just starting to occur now from the visitors, although Carrigan not able to unlock Mars's. For South Melbourne, it was Lee Minopoulos. He took the reins tonight as well, perhaps interim manager, and South Melbourne still look to find a successor for Esteban Quintas. O'Kane has completely falconed his teammate inadvertently. Godfrey DeBelle. Leo Mars is having a chat to the Hume City technical area. I'll quote him, they're all head injuries. That's said by Leo Mars, of course, but the last person you want to be right now is that of Godfrey DeBelle. It was an awful, awful inadvertent falcon. As Marzis. Cross comes in, Anastovsky couldn't generate power on the header. He's gone right for Weir. He's taken a tumble. Anastovsky coming together with that of Michael Weir. I'm sure got the full value out of that little body check.
Open! Get it! Get the fucking ball! Play! Play!
Lucky Weir. Oh, Michael Weir, rather. Oh, and this might just send the game into a bit of a rapture. Well, Anastovsky had scored. Melbourne Knights firmly believe that Michael Weir, rather, had played the ball. Anastovsky latched on and put it in the net, but the debate here being had is that the Knights should have the goal stand. Well, Marchioli was wanting the game to be played. Listen to that noise down there. This one just starting to boil. Jock Quartermain is going to have a conversation here. The fourth official being told or involved in this conversation. Franich goes into the book. Well, they're confused here at Naziel Stadium. I'm sure as we all are currently. Weir took no time sending forward. But how that's just put a spark inside the Knights. They are adamant that is a goal. And Zizek. Keelat. Kidar. And now the Knights have a golden opportunity to get themselves on the board. How does Kieran Bramwell love playing here? It's game on at Naziel Stadium. The number 9 with a poacher's finish. And Robert Marchioli is incensed. But this game has reignited. And considering this peculiar pattern the game was entering, that was almost written to happen. Bramwell continues his rich spate of form here in West Meadows, and this game is firmly alive now. And there is ample time considering there is a good 9.5 minutes left of regulation. And how a spring in the step of the Knights have really started to find. Marzis. Nicolati's trying the back heel to follow suit. Tabele, defensive duties. Shot Quartermain. Nowhere near his whistle. Marzis had the final touch on the way out, even though he was wanting to plant the ball into the corner position. A lot to unpack in the last 5 minutes that have transpired here. As Weir sends it long. Domfort couldn't flick it on. Keelarts, Kedar, Anastovsky. It's getting very stuck in the middle. He shifts it wide. Anastovsky, Marzis, lovely first touch. And now Morton has Nicolati's ball getting stuck on the edge of the box. Ford can't seem to get it clear. Petherotis. Dunlop in a wide area. Steps around Isgrove. Can they cross it in the Knights? And into the area, teasing. It's going to be a Hume City goal kick. Manonis now back on Michael Weir. Domfort heads it on, although Carrigan got the ball just moving forward. Anastovsky wanted to just chase him behind. There's a real spring in the visitor step currently. Anastovsky. Morton trying to just galvanise his side. And there has been a free kick awarded to the hosts. Ashcroft. Codford Tabele couldn't keep the ball in play. Kedar. Lloyd Isgrove. Hume looking to just bleed out the clock. Isgrove getting a bit more involved. Gone a little bit quiet, perhaps, the Welshman upon his return. Marzis. Nicolaitis. Carrigan. Petheridis going long, although Ford heads away. White. Leo Marzis. Out wide. Stepping inside is Marzis. Has 3 to get around. Isolated on the flank. wanting to run it to Leo Marzis. Debele will clear. Dunlop for Brecevic. Carrigan. Hume flooding back. Can the Knights just carve open another opportunity? Cross comes in. Ochieng clears away. Remains alive still, perhaps, for the visitors. Petheridis was asking a couple of questions. It's a slight protest for handball. White. Petheridis. Dunlop couldn't advance. Isgrove wants to go on a journey. Trying to pace beyond Brecevic. David against Goliath in terms of size, but not determination. Down the line, Domfer. Keelat trying to just get the ball towards the corner flag, that of Hume. Try manufacture a corner. Brecevic will clear very long, and Bramwell will want to pressure that of Ashcroft on his 100th. Weir taking no prisoners and wanting to clear long. White, Anastovsky along the deck, backtracking the substitute of Debele. Weir had to use some footwork. He clears it long. Nicolaides. White. Anastovsky had to lunge forward. Mati. Along the deck. Carrigan. Is there a moment for the visitors? White. Petheridis. Brecevic. Last time the Knights have received any points, it was against St Albans on the 30th of March. They're fresh off the cup win. They are in need of at least a point here, although on the counter-attack, Michael Domfer has a chance. There's options queuing up in the box. Keelat was all on his own, and so was Isgrove. And he got his foot in just wrong at the pivotal moment. At the other end is Anastovsky. Ashcroft rectifies that situation. Ricocheting ball, which Michael Weir will mop up completely. But what a moment that could have been. Domfer had two teammates in the box. And dare I say, he got his footing all wrong. How the Hume bench did not appreciate that. And there's going to be one late substitution. Alex Hurd ripping off the trainee kit. Can he have a say off the bench? Marzis, it's going to hit the back of Nicolaides. Hume desperate to get the ball cleared. Alex Hurd itching to come on. The next out surely would be his first involvement. Ashcroft, firm but fair against Anastovsky. Carrigan back to Marty. You feel like it might be there for the Knights to do. Anastovsky got the back of caught in his own foot, but still had it worked out wide to Mars. This overlapping run from Nicolaides is the incisive option. Ashcroft hits the deck. Nicolaides, that has to be a handball, and Ivan Franjic will lead the protests. Well, it looked as if it could have been. The official with the more, let's say, clear view of it. But by my own evaluation, if I'm to have one, a very controversial moment in this matchup. Might have just grazed the chest of Ashcroft on his 100th game, and how calamitous that could have been. Marchioli will make a duo of substitutions. As Alex Herb will come on. Fraser Dunlop. Has his night conclude? Herdenis Yildiz joins Oriba Ezi. So a couple of late changes for City. Here's Hurd. Onto the player out wide, looking for a fresh injection of pace. Ivan Franic. Decisive ball, although Ishak cuts it off. Kidar. White. Lateral for Marzis. Nicolaides running incisively. Marzis gets around forward. Nicolaides can cross. Ball comes into the back post. It's deflecting everywhere. The Knights will protest again. Combination was there from Nicolaides and Marzis. And it just ricocheted like a pinball inside the 6-yard box. Very tense moments for the hosts. They're merely hanging on by a thread to the 3 points. Ishak. Didn't want to use his keeper. O'Kane lunging in. Marzis in a wide area. Been important since coming on into this one. Marzis. Petheridis was a slide option. Michael Weir will drink up all the seconds he can. We're firmly into regulation now. Brečević heads away. Well, you'd feel as if that could almost be that. All depends on what Jock Quartermain's thinking. Is there one last gasp attempt for the Knights? Isgrove. Brečević will clear forward. Marzis couldn't control. Labordia sends it out wide. Hurd wants to get this game just kept in play. Anastovsky. Nicolaides just reading nicely. He positioned himself to get his foot on the ball. Big slide from Ford. Is there still moments? Nicolaides. DeBelle did what was necessary. Carrigan got two to get around. The Knights all streaming forward. Brečević running inside the box. Marti has come a firm way. He wanted to cross it in. This would surely be it. Nicolaides floats it in. It doesn't reach inside the box. Bramwell. Hurd takes a touch, although he runs it out of play. The Hume technical staff want to know how long is left. You feel as if it will be the 100th to remember for Harry Ashcroft. But the Knights inside the last 10 minutes really nearly completing the perfect storm of a comeback. Michael Weir sends it long, but Chuck Quartermain still hasn't had a glance towards his watch. There's still time for something to transpire. Long throw down the line. Brechovic. Domfer wants to just hold possession, the substitute. And that will be that for the hosts. Hume City come away with the spoils, in which they really had to earn inside the last 10 minutes. Josh Bingham in the first half opened the scoring. At the start of the second, it continued. The hosts able to find their second with Mark Ochieng. Kieran Bramwell continues his goal-scoring record here in the West Meadows, although the Melbourne Knights weren't able to find that equaliser. They were so desperate in trying to find come the end of that match. That's all for us here for round 11. We appreciate you joining us on Anzac Day for the clash here in the West Meadows. Hume City with the 3 points, celebrating match 100 of NPL Victoria football for their vice-captain, Harry Ashcroft. Signing off is Adam Palombi. Thank you for joining us on this wet Melbourne night. And until round 12, we'll see you then.